Welcome everyone to the 2013 FAST conference. This is, I believe, the 11th edition of this conference, and it's my pleasure, my co-chair YY's pleasure to welcome you to this event. We've got a really exciting program over the next couple days. We're looking forward to it. I hope you all enjoy it as much as we think you will. I'm going to start just with a couple of things that USENIX asked me to announce. First, there's some schedule information. It's all in the registration packets you got, but just a reminder, there's going to be 2 breaks today, one in the middle of the morning and one in the afternoon. There'll be snacks and beverages available. The conference luncheon is also happening today. That's in the Regency Ballroom, which is, I think, next door over there, but we'll find out when that happens. You can just follow the crowd. They'll get you to lunch. A couple of practical items. Security. This is a public building, so USENIX encourages you to keep your laptops with you, not leave them in this room if you go wandering off. The USENIX registration desk is around the corner. Hopefully you've all found it and you've registered, and that's why you're here. And last point is that at the end of the conference, you can recycle your name badges. They'll have some sort of, it probably says here exactly what, but they will have you'll be able to drop them off at the USENIX desk and at the registration desk. So that said, let me start by telling you a little bit about what you're going to see during the conference. Some brief statistics. We had 127 submissions this year, of which 24 were accepted, and you're going to hear those papers in the next couple of days. That's just a hair off of the record number of submissions we had last year. As of just recently, I seem to have lost a line before 465. That funny number down there, 465, is the attendance. And as usual, more people show up during the conference, so we expect that number to go up. That also is just a hair below the record of last year, so looks like this is a very healthy conference. Thank you all for your participation. A little more about the papers we've got this year. We're following up on an experiment that was started last year. We have both the traditional full-length papers, and we also invited the submission of short papers, typically 6 or 7 pages. Just isn't big enough to require a full 12-page paper to describe. And so rather than having authors sort of run on and fill up space, present a smaller idea in a smaller space. All these papers were evaluated to the same standard as the full-length papers. They're just sprinkled into the program. As you can see here, we wound up with 20 full-length papers and 4 of these shorter papers. Some of the stuff I personally really like about this conference is the mix of people and backgrounds that show up here, and you can really see this in the program of papers we've got. As I say here, we've got 9 of the 24 papers are 100% from academia, university authors. We've got 5 papers that are from industry, either developers or research labs. And we have 10 papers that are actually collaborations between these 2 worlds, which I think is absolutely wonderful. It's one of the things I like about this conference is the fact that we have both industry and academia here in the same room talking about the same topics. And we have papers from all over the world, 7 different countries. I list them here, and that's where the papers actually come from. The authors on a lot of these papers come from many other places, so it's quite a diverse group of people we've got presenting here. This is a systems conference, so of course I've got to give you a little bit of data. When authors submit their papers, they tag their papers with a bunch of different topics that we use to help line up reviewers with those papers. And I've gone back over the last 3 years and sort of broken down the topics that had the most submissions at each conference. One point is that the numbers here, as you'll all quickly pick up, add up to more than 100%. Papers get tagged with multiple topics. So there's a couple of, you can look at this all different ways. It's not very scientific. A couple of interesting points. Solid-state storage, flash, PCM, SSDs continues to be a very hot topic. About 1 out of 3 papers has something to do with this subject. Not too surprisingly, over time, we see a big increase in the number of submissions about cloud storage. This year's the highest number yet. Something I wasn't expecting until I saw this data, another topic that has increasing submissions is papers on caching. We have an entire session on that later this morning. And another surprise to me is that papers on file system architecture and design seem to actually be getting a bit less popular. Gone from sort of the most popular topic 2 years ago to merely 20% of the papers we get submitted, which is, of course, quite a healthy number. Moving on, you can't do, YY and I could never do a conference like this solo. We've got a few people we want to thank. Most especially the program committee. As you can see here, there's far too many of them for us to list all their names, but these people did a tremendous amount of work to make this conference happen. We had those 127 submissions, and those papers all got 3, 4, 5, sometimes 7 or 8 reviews from the program committee. Almost everyone flew out here at the tail end of November for a very long meeting to discuss the papers. They were all very thoughtful, very serious, very respectful of each other's opinions. It was a great meeting. Everyone had, it was also a long meeting, I think. So I want to thank all these people. I hope you will clap too. Also, the last name on this page, Yuanyuan, was a student scribe who sat through the entire meeting taking notes on all the papers we discussed. And if you've ever done that, that's a really grueling job because you really have to be on all the time because you have to pay attention to every single discussion. And he did a great job in that. A lot of those comments made it back to the authors. In this work, the committee wrote over 500 reviews. I was looking at this on the airplane coming out here, and that turned out to be about 350,000 words of text. And just for perspective, that's the equivalent of Charles Dickens' David Copperfield. And our committee was not being paid by the word, unlike Mr. Dickens. A few other people to thank. John Strunk put together a great program of tutorials yesterday. I've heard good things about them. Nitin Agrawal and Zhou have put together our poster and whip sessions, respectively. And of course, there's the FAST Steering Committee, which is a bunch of veterans of the FAST process who have been on many program committees, organized this conference themselves, and are an endless source of advice and suggestions, a great help to have behind us. One of the things they do is they give out the FAST Test of Time Award, which is an award for a paper that was published at FAST at least 10 years ago and has stood the test of time as a significant contribution. You'll be hearing about that today at the conference luncheon. And another really important group that you simply couldn't do this without, is the USENIX staff. I had heard wonderful things about them before I accepted this job, and they really exceeded my expectations. It's sort of funny, my wife is in a completely different field, and she is currently involved in organizing a conference in her field, which makes for interesting dinner time conversations. But she is busy running off and negotiating with hotels, trying to figure out how much food to order for an unknown number of people who are going to show up at their conference, setting up a registration system, having registration forms show up in our home mailbox. And USENIX just does all this. They're great at it, and it lets YY and me do the stuff that we actually enjoy about this. So this is another group who really deserves a big round of applause. We also have a bunch of sponsors who help make this happen. These things don't happen for free, and it's great that these companies are willing to contribute money to make FAST keep happening. One of the things I notice when I look at this list is that it's not just a bunch of big name companies, it's a bunch of companies that you sometimes think of as competing with each other, and they do. Here's the second page, but all these people who compete in other arenas come to FAST and contribute to FAST because they despite their competition, they agree that this is an event they want to be involved with. So I really appreciate the fact that so many of these companies help us. And one last bit of thanks before I turn this over to YY. We got, like I said, 127 papers, many of which we couldn't accept, but I do want to thank all of the people who submitted papers to the conference. Not only does it make my job as a program chair easier because we have a lot of papers, but when I thought about it, I was really flattered and really floored by the fact that all these people are willing to send us their research and stuff they've worked on for months, years, and let us review it and give them feedback, and that they trust us to do that. So I really appreciate that. I have to thank our employers, NetApp and University of California, San Diego. My boss, I was fortunate that my manager basically said, yes, we want the conference to be great, go do it, Keith, and they made time for this to happen. And I want to thank all of you. I mean, the other great thing about FAST is the people who show up here, the conversations that happen, the ideas that happen. So I'm really glad to see all of you here. Thank you very much. And with that, I'll give this to
So for speakers, please report to your session chairs in advance, at least 20 minutes before your session. You might want to test your laptops. And when you ask questions, please introduce yourself, especially if you want to ask a mean question. We really, really want to know who you are. And we have the buffs for both for tonight and also tomorrow night. So if you're welcome to host your own buff, and if you want to attend some of them, you can also check the board to in the registration area to see, maybe you find some interesting topics there. And we have a WIP tomorrow, the work in progress, and the actual work in progress will be future papers. So please actually check them out, and the abstracts are also online already. And we have 2 poster sessions and receptions, and it's this afternoon and also tomorrow afternoon. So you can also see the list of papers online. And tomorrow we're going to have a keynote address. So the speaker is Kai Lee from Princeton University. He's going to talk about the data domain experience, and actually, I think basically the data, he really actually bridges academia with the industry, and the data domain, as you guys probably know, also have seen papers at this conference, has basically done a really phenomenal job in backup storage. So there are many actual USENIX events. I don't have time to basically say all of them. Just for this audience, probably one of the most relevant one is hard storage. And most importantly is actually next year's FAST. So the program chair for next year FAST will be Bianca Schroeder from University of Toronto, and Theresa from Microsoft. So is here. So, okay. If you guys have any complaints about this conference, talk to him, okay? Not to us. Our jobs are done here. And then finally, the best paper awards. So the best paper are selected by a small group of program committees who have no conflict of interest with any papers. And so this time we selected 2 papers. The first paper is the best short paper, just to actually, maybe Keith has mentioned, it's a short paper and a full paper, we use the same acceptance standard. So to even actually support this, we actually have a best short paper this time. So the best short paper goes to the author of the union, the authors of Union of the Buffer Cache and the journaling layers with the non-volatile memory. The authors are Yunjin Li, Hyun-Kung Bao, and Sam No. So I don't know who are the authors here. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Good job. There's a thing with your name on it for each of them, and there's a check with the money.
So also the paper was presented today during the 10 a.m. session. So the best full paper goes to the study of Linux file system evolution. The authors are Yuanyuan Lu, Andrea Apache Duso, Ramsey Apache Duso, and Shan Lu. Good stuff, yeah.